Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a memory planning process video for you. I am planning for the week of May 16th through the 20th, doing some memory planning. I only have a handful of pictures from that week. I am planning on using Pink Fresh Studios line from the summer. What was the name of this line? Happy Heart, which is just a beautiful summer line. I'm excited to get a chance to use it. So that's the plan. I have a few pieces from this one that I'm going to use. I will link everything that I end up using down below. Otherwise, I'll put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. I pretty much knew from the moment I saw this paper that I would be cutting out these windows and using them as ephemera pieces. I think they are super cute. So I'm going to start with cutting out a few of them. And really what I'm going to do is create a background on this page that I'm then going to just lay my pictures on top of. And that's a new thing I've been doing with my memory keeping, in that I'm just focusing not on incorporating the pictures and layering, but just creating a pretty background, almost as if the paper was already printed instead of all white, that it was already printed with a background, and then just laying pictures over the top. And you'll see kind of how it comes together. But I love papers like this that you can cut apart. I find them a little bit difficult to use as a whole piece, and I really enjoy just the feeling of like bringing this and spreading it out over the page, if that makes sense, because I'm taking that same pattern, the same kind of concept, and then just spreading out these images across the whole page. And it's such a pretty light color scheme for spring, for the beginning of summer, all about it. Now that I have some windows cut out, the next step is going to be something I don't do super often in my planner, and I probably should do a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of watercolor. So I'm going to use these metallic watercolors. I will link them below. I absolutely love them. And really, I'm just going to make kind of some big splotches. I'm going with the colors that are in the windows. So we're going with the light pinks and the yellows and the blue. And it's just going to be a really soft background to kind of change up the boxy look that tends to happen when you're working in these memory planners, because you're working with a lot of different rectangles. And so when you bust out of the boxes, I guess you would say, it definitely changes look. So we'll bring in some yellow and then some pink. And like I said, I'm just kind of doing some random splotches, and then I'll be able to nestle the windows near where these splotches are and kind of bring them together and form that background that I was talking about earlier. We're going to stay underneath the line up here. You can see I got out of the lines in some of the other parts, but at the top I wanted to keep it pretty consistent. So we'll add all of those in and then make sure they dry completely, which took a little bit of time for sure. I know I'll have questions. Does this bleed through? No, it does not bleed through. Does it wrinkle the pages? Yes, it wrinkles the pages. That doesn't really bother me very much. I have heard people say if you use an iron without any steam, like a low heat iron, that can flatten out the pages. So you can certainly try that. I just don't really mind the wrinkles at all. All right, so now is the time to start putting the windows back on. I kind of play with whether I want to stay within the confines of those vertical boxes or push to the edges. I usually opt to push all the way out to the edges. There's kind of two different thoughts on memory planning. You can make it very orderly and have everything line up in the boxes, or you can kind of bust out of the boxes and just use the whole page. And I kind of like the idea of using the whole page. I think it's a lot of fun to kind of spread out, and I just use the boxes as a little bit of a timeline guide. I try to get pictures near their vertical column of boxes depending on the day that they were taken, and just work from there. I'm adjusting my plan a little bit. I wasn't planning on bringing the windows up so high, but once I did the watercolor up high, I think it really matches. So I'll just go ahead and bring those up, and then same thing on this side. I was going to have them all on the lower half of the page, but I decided I'll just go ahead and push them up just a little bit. I'm trying to be careful not to make too many lines, if that makes sense. I don't want all of the windows to be lined up perfectly, but we're just going to move them kind of along. And now we're kind of ready to work on some pictures. This was one of those crazy busy weeks where I actually did not have a ton of pictures. This was the week our HVAC went out in our house. And it also, of course, it always coincides with the hottest weekend of the year thus far. So it was kind of just a crazy week where we had to run out and buy some window units. And we had an amazing neighbor that gave us his window unit to use for a little while we tried to figure out what went on with our HVAC. We did eventually have to replace the HVAC unit, which is one of those super not fun adulting things that happens when you're a homeowner. Every now and again, I hope it doesn't happen to us for a super long time because that was definitely an expensive fix. I also really wanted to use some of these journaling tags. These, again, are part of the Happy Heart line, and I just thought they would be really cute, kind of nestled in here and there. I don't need to add a ton because, of course, you have the watercolor, you already have the windows, but a few of these in a few places will work out really well. And then I also end up adding, you know that I love words. I love ephemera with words on them. I think that they're so fun to include in a spread, and so once I get these down, I'm going to go through an extra set of ephemera that I got from Pink Fresh Studios. And it doesn't go with the Happy Heart line. It's actually just other, I don't know if it's just, it's like rainbow words or rainbow ephemera. It's just a bunch of different singings, words, quotes, things like that in a lot of different colors. And so I pull those out. And to me, that really helps kind of hone in on a story without doing all of the journaling for the story. So it gives you an idea of what that picture is about, kind of the feeling of a picture without having to write it out all the time, which I really appreciate. You can see I'm trying to be careful as I'm putting these down to maintain the layering that I had planned. If I plan it out and then move everything off the page at once, there's like a 0 chance I'll remember where I had things. So I'm just moving pieces one by one to get them all settled. I love these pictures. My Girl Scout troop went horseback riding, so I have a picture of my daughter on her horse, and they had a great time. That was a super fun event. So a busy week without a lot of pictures just because it was such a crazy week. We'll cut those apart. Here's that extra ephemera I was talking about. There's just some great there's great quotes in here for cards that say like happy birthday and thank you, but there's also just really nice ones like smile, breathe, and go slowly. That's a great picture of our master bedroom when we decided to rearrange it on a whim. It was one of those like stressful moments. We were stressed over the HVAC and we thought, you know what we're going to do? Rearrange our master bedroom because why not? So it felt like one of those, all right, I guess we'll do that. It was just a way to distract ourselves and it kind of worked for that evening. Keep showing up. Just really great quotes. So this is, I'm super pleased with this ephemera pack. It's definitely one that I'm going to get a lot of use out of for sure. Once I figure out which ones I want, I will get those down. I'm using my Tombow adhesive again, still on the search for some adhesive. I love the Tombow adhesive, but it's expensive to refill all the time. So I need to find another option, just not sure which way I'm gonna go. Eventually, once I get these down, I'll add in some journaling lines and do my journaling off camera. And then this memory planner spread will be done. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will link all of the supplies that I use down below, including this gorgeous collection from Pink Fresh Studios. It's one of my favorite new collections this spring. I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for all of your support. We're having a fabulous time over on Patreon. So if you haven't gone to check it out and see some of the perks and things that are going on over there, then check out that link in the description box and see if there is a tier that will work for you. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.